Hello and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about one of the most exciting parts of being a teacher, and that is looking at the end of the summer term as you're looking forward to the next school year in September and probably your new class, or if you're moving up to a new year group, then your new year group, obviously you might be following your class up, so keeping the same class. And it's such an exciting time. It's full of new beginnings, new ideas, new things you can do, new challenges ahead. So it's one of the best parts of being a teacher in my view, and it always comes with a sense of anticipation, of excitement. So it's definitely something that I think is really fun time of year, but it's also one of the busiest times of year because you're really starting to get ready for the new school and getting everything ready. So I just want to talk about the types of things to look at when you're getting ready for September, and this applies to people who maybe if you're going into your first year of teaching, so getting ready for September for the first time, but also for people that come to the end of the year and think about getting ready for the next school year. And obviously these are things I think about when I'm getting ready, and things that I'm currently doing right now. So the first thing I'm thinking about is my new class, and so making sure that I've done a handover with the other teacher that's had the class, and they've spoken about the different things that are to do with that class. So the ability levels of all the children, the class dynamics, and the children that should be sat with each other, maybe children that shouldn't be sat near each other, they don't necessarily get along or they don't work well together, and just the kind of general know-how class, anything that works well with the class, things the class enjoys, things the class don't like doing, how they've done their lessons, because all teachers teach a little bit differently, and obviously you want to put your own spin on the teaching, you're teaching your own style, but it's always good to know what has worked previously, because it just means when you're first getting to know the kids, you've got a few ideas of what's going to happen and what's going to happen when you do certain things. So definitely that handover is really, really important, just to make sure that you've got a few ideas of what's going to go on with the class when you first get them. That was generally done before you do your transition days at the end of the summer term, but it's definitely something important to do before you get your class in September. Once you've got that information about your new class, then it's time to review the year you've just had and to have a think about what's gone well, what could have gone even better than the way it did, and what hasn't gone very well, and actually you think, you know what, maybe it's time to move away from doing that. And so there's various things this can apply to. This can apply to equipment in the classroom and how that's laid out. Do the kids have their own pencil cases? Do they have pencil pots in the middle of the table? This can apply to things like the library and the bookshelf, and have the structures you've had put in place worked with children getting books off the shelf? Has it been kept neat? And if not, how can you change that? And it can also apply to things like your expectations. So have your expectations of the class been high enough? Have they been low enough for your year group? Has this produced good quality pieces of work? And if not, what kind of things can you change there? So definitely time to review things and then put into place any actions that you want for the new year, and obviously look at your new class and think what will work well. Is the class coming up a class that enjoys working in silence? If you're expecting them to work in silence, what can you do to make sure they do that? And just those kind of things, make sure that your style of teaching is going to work with the class that's coming up, and are there any tweaks that you need to make? Once you've done these kind of ideas about your teaching style, then the next thing to look at is your classroom. So your classroom will be set up, and if you're keeping the same year group, you should have the same types of books, but it's definitely a good chance to see if you need to refresh any of them. Are there any books on there that haven't been touched all year, and why that? The class coming up, have they got the same reading ability level as the class that you just had, or are you going to have to get some extra books that weren't necessarily used last year or weren't needed last year, but this time, if you've got a more advanced class, you might need some books that are of a higher level. A lower class, you might need some books of a lower level. So definitely check your bookshelf and make sure it's all neat and tidy and ready for the new year in terms of the ability of books that are on there and the range, the diversity. Have you got authors from all different areas, all different locations? People, some that sum up your school and your area, some that sum up the wider world, that kind of thing. The other thing to look at is your classroom, and it's time to refresh your displays, refresh the walls, make sure everything up on the walls is needed or is important. And maybe take some things down that you've put up throughout the year. If you're in year 4 and you're getting ready for the times tables test, do you have times tables up at the start of the year and then take them down throughout the year as they learn them? Or do you have them all down from the get-go and children are expected to learn them from day one? It's just that type of thing, and think about what's worked, what hasn't worked previously in your classroom and the classroom environment. Another thing that you might think of that you want to do is talk to the parents of your class coming up. So it might be worth, for instance, if you use Class Dojo, you can send messages on all the different teachers' accounts or the different classes. And it might be worth just sending a message to the parents of the new class, just saying who you are, kind of expectations in your classroom, things to know for day one, when your PE day is, just that kind of thing, because you want to make a good first impression and you want to make sure you're organised and you're up to date. And as always, I say this in just about every single video, I think, clear communication with parents is absolutely key to being a teacher. It's key to all aspects of it, because at the end of the day, you only have the children for a few hours a day. They spend most of the time at home with the parents. So if you are on the same wavelength as the parents and you're working together for the same goal, you'll be a much more effective teacher than if you're working on your own or against parents if they've got different ideas to you. So definitely make sure you're communicating well with parents, and this starts from the first time you get to know your class. So before we do transition, I'll be sending a message to the parents of the class. I'm going to have just say hi and who I am and the types of things I'm expecting the children to have with them on the first day. So it's just something clear to say, look, this is what we're doing from day one. As always, any questions, talk to me. And so it's just something good that, you can talk to the parents, say hi, say who you are, and start things rolling on a good note. One of your final things to think about is resources. So thinking about books, thinking about pencils, thinking about pencil cases, just making sure everything is ready. Labels on books, chairs, seating plan, all of those kind of things where they seem like little odd jobs, but they do take a lot of time. So it's important to start thinking about them before the end of the year, really, going through the summer term. We've got about 3 weeks now, and I'm just about to start making up the books and the labels and getting all them set for the next school year. Because it's not a job you want to be doing over summer. It's not a job you want to be doing as you come back to school on the first day, because by then it'll be too late to get it all done. So definitely get it prepped and get it ready early days if you can. So it's just making sure all those are ready and all those are organised. It'll make your first few weeks much simpler if you're ready and set and everything's out on the side ready for you. And again, it's a good time to think about your organisation and think about, has where I've stored these things worked this year, or do I need to change them slightly and put them somewhere else and change them around? So just think about your resources and get everything ready as soon as you can. And the final thing to think about to get ready for September, and this is the most important thing by far, is to look after yourself. So as you're coming to the end of a summer term, you have done a hard slog. It's been a long year. I'm sure you'll be feeling tired. You might have absolutely loved your class and loved the year you've had, but either way, you will be tired, and you'll have been a long time since you've had a proper break. So you've had a couple of weeks off here and there, but you know what? Looking ahead, you've got 6 weeks of glorious summer holiday to look forward to. And as I always say, there are so many benefits of being a teacher, and one of them is the holidays. We get a lot of holiday, and it's not always appreciated in the teaching world, I don't think, as much as it possibly could be. So make sure that the most final thing to do to get ready for September is to enjoy your summer holidays. Now, you might be going away. In today's world, you probably won't be going away anywhere too far. You'll be staying within the country, but go and enjoy yourself and go and do stuff that you enjoy. Teaching is one of those jobs where it takes over your life if you're not careful, and there is very little time to do anything else. But the 6 weeks is the time. That is the time to do things other than teaching. So do your best to not be always in school. Do your best to not be working every day. Set aside some time to do some work, and there's always some work you can do, especially getting ready for September. But make sure you're enjoying yourself, because at the end of the day, your well-being and your mental health and all of that is so important. And it's something that I've really learned this year. Obviously, the video I put out a couple of weeks ago about why I'm back making videos again and why I haven't been for a while, that is something that's really important, and it's prioritizing. And during the summer holidays, you should absolutely be prioritizing yourself and your family and your friends and going doing the things that you love to do, because there's no better time to do it. The weather won't be any nicer than during the summer holidays. It's the best time. So make sure you enjoy it, and make sure you come back in September feeling refreshed, feeling ready for all the new challenges that are coming ahead, especially this year as we're going back into what will hopefully be a full normal school year, rather than like the last two where we've had lockdowns, we've had changes, we've had bubbles, we've had cancellations, we've had all sorts coming thrown at us. This year will, fingers crossed, be a relatively normal school year. So definitely go away, chill out, enjoy yourself, do whatever it is that you want to do that makes you feel happy, feel good about yourself, and come back ready and raring to go in September. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, guys, and it has been helpful to you. And as always, any questions, chuck them in the comments down below and I will reply. Hopefully you've seen in previous videos that I've done, I do my best to reply to every single comment that I see that has a question on it, all that kind of stuff. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon.